Hello everyone, I'm the Weather Dude. Welcome back, and today we are going to be talking about a potentially major Christmas winter storm that's going to swing across the upper Midwest and eventually the Northeast very shortly after that. So the major winter storm right now is situated across the west, and it's going to swing into the Midwest over the next couple of days, like Thursday, Friday, and kind of linger around into Saturday in some spots. And yes, this is right around just in time for the Christmas holiday, just in time when people are going to be traveling, getting ready for the Christmas holiday. So we're just going to jump right into it here. Now, because the storm is still several days away, and we don't know an exact track yet, we're going to be focusing on the more major global models today. So we got the American model, the European model, and the Canadian model. And of course, we're going to be updating on this throughout the week because this is a major winter storm just in time for Christmas. It would be fun if there was a storm for New Year's as well. I believe there was one last year. If not, it was the year before that. But let's look at the GFS model here. We're starting off, and as you can see, snow swings in right around Thursday morning from Kansas, Iowa, up through Wisconsin. And you can see just how the storm starts to wind up. You can kind of see it form into here, let me change the color to black here. You can see how it kind of changes from, we got like a diagonal shape, and it kind of bends into like a straight line. You can see how it's starting to the storm is starting to gather itself together really well here. Let me actually, I had to reinstall the software, so I gotta readjust everything. But here's the low, 1,005 millibars, not particularly strong, but watch as it moves to the north. You can see it kind of like rotate. Like if I were to go back and play it, you would know what I'm talking about, right? So let's play it here. You can see it just rotate, and the low strengthens, and it's really cracking up now. I mean, you got the winds that are gonna be coming down, like in Chicago, for example, on the north and from the north and west, and it's going to be frigid. We're going to take a look at that at the end of the video, actually. So stay tuned if you want to see what the temperatures are going to look like, before and after the storm. I mean, mini spoiler alert: some places could drop by like 50 degrees in one day. That's how big this cold snap's going to be. You can see the snow. We're going to take a look at the Midwest first, and then the Northeast. So we're going to focus on two regions today. But you can see the low just sit there and spin, and it's not till in some places, especially in Michigan, like early Saturday morning before this is finally all said and done. I mean, this is because it's the Great Lakes, gotta remember. But it's still related to the storm, so I mean, it still counts. I mean, the snow is still falling, right? And so that's gonna make its way off to the east. Now, originally, we were hoping, or at least I was hoping, because as a resident of the Mid-Atlantic, I was kind of hoping this would be a coastal snowstorm. Not quite. Now, that's not to say that people in the I-95 corridor won't get a little bit. It's very uncertain right now, but we'll get to that when we focus on the Northeast on the maps here. But look at the GFS. Now, this is the Kuchera ratio. Now, some models on the website don't have it, but definitely use Kuchera because it uses a more accurate snow-to-liquid ratio. 10-to-1 automatically assumes that for every inch of liquid, you're going to have 10 inches of snow. But what this does is it actually figures out, what's the ratio going to be? Is it going to be 14-to-1 or 7-to-1? Because that will more accurately determine your snowfall. So when this first came out, I was like hesitant because I didn't really know what it was. But once I looked into it, yes, Kuchera is the better one to use because for example, with this system, if you go to, I actually think I might have it pulled up. I'm not sure if I have it pulled up, but if you were to pull up the 10-to-1, it would look way, way reduced from this, right? Because there's so much cold air with this system that for every, inch of liquid precipitation, there's going to be more snow. But you wouldn't know that if you looked at this. This is the same exact model. It looks like a completely different model, right? Same exact model, but so like Chicago, for example, see how it says 12 inches? Where as of here, it says 20, almost 24. So yeah, that's why you got to use, and we're going to get into that in a little bit later. But you can see here, almost 2 feet of snow for Chicago. I mean, everywhere in this red is at least a foot of snow. In the UP of Michigan, looks like 3 to 4 feet, with some isolated areas upwards of exceeding 5 feet, actually. I mean, 64 inches of snow. I mean, that is just mind-boggling. All right, I mean, even Indiana, I think Gary's around here, around 30 inches. I mean, this is a lot of snow. And remember, if the low just sits here and the snow just winds up and keeps on, the lakes keep on pumping it out, that is certainly possible. All right. Now let's take a look. Oh, I might have just put. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the European model now, and you can see again. Here comes in like a diagonal. I know you can't see my hands, but I'm trying to do like the hand motion for it. But you can see how it kind of swings in, and it kind of bends into a straight line. And you can see the storm just rotate up to the north, and then so northeast up to the north, and then yes, there is the heavy snow, and you can see the rain. It's got like a warm front, so we got like the rain up here. That's gonna be like your warm sector. We'll see that when we get to the northeast, because that's where some of the rain's gonna be. And then yeah, just bends up to the north. So it's gonna be one of those inland runners. Again, for me, from my perspective, disappointing, but for you guys, not so much. But again, the heavy snow is gonna be cranking out here. I mean, like Chicago, you might see it from like early Friday morning. It might come in on Thursday. Europeans not really keen on the snow coming in that early. So maybe like most of the day Friday, then lingering into your Saturday. But while the snow is coming down, it's going to be heavy. Now, here's my example, because the Kuchera really isn't available on the Euro model, so you're forced to stick with 10-1. But we can kind of get an idea of what we're going to see. Because you can see Chicago only says 9.3 inches. And when you look at that, model run, you might think that's right. I mean, it looks about right. But if we look at the Kuchera ratio, now this is on the GFS, but, I mean, the models do agree on what the temperature is going to be. And when you're determining the snow to liquid ratio, that's what you look at, like the temperatures and other stuff. So if you look at the snow to liquid ratio, while the snow is coming down, like Thursday and the Friday, like, for example, we'll use Chicago as an example, the ratio was 23-1. I mean, in some areas. I mean, it is crazy. 23, 24-1. Meaning, for every inch of liquid precipitation, you're going to get 2 feet of snow. I mean, that is just mind-boggling. And obviously, when the temperature get colder, now this doesn't mean snow is falling up here currently, but this means, like in North Dakota, that means if snow were to be falling, every inch of liquid would be 30 inches of snow, which is like just absolutely crazy. So with that said, if you were to go to Chicago, you could pretty much like double these amounts, like at least for Chicago, because 10-1 to 24-1, we'll play it safe and say 20-1. You could basically double this. So the Euro is probably calling for 18 inches of snow, would be my estimate for the Euro. So do keep that in mind, all right? Again, because it's going to be so cold, the snow is going to stick very, very easily. All right, so let's take a look now at the Canadian model, and then we're going to flip over and go back through the other models again, all the same 3 models for the Northeast. Right? So here we go. Canadian model here. Storm comes in. Again, they do kind of agree, right? It kind of comes in, forms like that straight line, like that wall of snow, if you will, and then kind of rotates up to the north. The low is a little bit weaker. With the Canadian model, it kind of swings in, swings out. The opacity of like the snow on their model is always a little bit lighter, like the colors are always lighter. But the snow still comes in for a good bit of time, swings around the Great Lakes for a while, and then makes its way on out. So again, how much? Well, there's just like, let me just point out a massive area of like over 6 inches of snow. But still, again, this is the Kuchera ratio. This is the correct ratio. Still like 1.5 feet for Chicago on the east side of on Western Michigan on the east side of the lakes. We have over 2 feet of snow, maybe closer to 30 inches or 36 near Michigan. The UP over 3 feet of snow. So again, widespread snow. I mean, even Cleveland could get like over a foot or close to 2 feet. So this is looking like a pretty hefty Christmas snowstorm here, just in time for the Christmas holiday. I know for those of you that want a white Christmas, I got news for you. I mean, you're gonna have it here because remember the rule for a white Christmas is that an inch of snow needs to be not falling, just an inch of snow needs to be on the ground when you wake up on Christmas. Okay, so now don't get that confused because I used to get it confused with first snow. So your first measurable snowfall is 0.1 inches. And that just like when you see 0.1 inches on the ground, that means you've gotten your first snow, not when you see flakes. So white Christmas, again, 1 inch of snow on the ground. And I think if you're taking a look at this, like 8, 12, even 20 inches, that's going to be falling, and this will probably be wrapping up on Christmas Eve. So when you wake up Christmas morning, it's going to be there. So hopefully you guys in the Midwest and some places in the Northeast too, in the interior Northeast, will be enjoying your white Christmas. And speaking of the Northeast, let's flip on over there next. All right, here's the Northeast, and we take a look here as we head through like Thursday. So it's gonna be like two pieces of the storm essentially, because originally the whole thing was like, are these two systems? Because there's a system in the southeast and one swinging in from the west, right? I mean, if you watch the Weather Channel, they named it Elliott. So it's swinging in from the west, right? That's where Elliott is, and there's like a little piece, a little disturbance in the southeast, and the hope was that or originally thought it was going to combine the two systems together and it would form like one big storm over the east. They will combine a little bit, just kind of over land, and it's not going to be off the coast, and it's just lame. But you can see the storm kind of rising up from the south, and a lot of the models you're going to see this. Right, a little bit of snow over the Appalachians at first, some moderate to heavy snow on Thursday, and it's going to kind of morph in the rain, and you can see the warm sector is just all over. I mean, even New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine is going to get rain from this, except in the highest elevations. And then the question is, because once that cold air swings in, it's going to kind of swing in from the west. I mean, I'll show you the temperature graphs. It just barrels in the cold air. Like here, for example, where I'm at, I mean, it's going to go from like upper 50s to like middle teens, like from the high to the low on, I believe, Thursday. Yeah, Thursday or Friday. It's just going to absolutely, I think it's Thursday actually, because Friday morning will be the first dose of cold air. But I mean, yeah, the point is it's going to like crash the temperatures. And you can see like here's heavy rain right over, Wilmington and Philadelphia. And then here's the snow right here. Even DC's got some snow because they're further west. So I feel like some areas on the I-95 corridor, if you're lucky, you could see a brief shot of snow for an hour or two. Definitely not going to stick, I don't think. Because the ground had just got done being like 60 degrees and moist. I don't think, snow's going to want to stick on that, even if the temperatures do crash. But what will happen over a lot of these spots in the Northeast, which I'm going to talk about now, is like a rapid freeze up. And this is what you have to watch out for, because it's going to be raining for hours here. Some of it will be heavy at times. There's going to be some ponding on these roadways. And what's going to happen is we're going to go from 55, 58 down to 17, for example, 20. It's going to freeze, and there's going to be some serious ice concerns, right? And who knows, if there happens to be like a half inch, think about a half inch of rain, for example, right? That's not a lot of rain. I mean, unless you live like in a desert, that might be a lot to you, but a half inch of rain in general isn't really a lot, but a half inch of ice is actually considered a ton because of the damage that it could do. So if that half inch of rain freezes, it could turn into a half inch of ice. Maybe not quite, but the point is, there could be a lot of ice frozen over from that rain should the temperature drop. And you can see a lot of heavy snow here. I mean, that bright pink is just like whiteout conditions, like all the way up here, snow rates. But that's what happens when the heavy rain crosses over with that cold sector. And there you go, really heavy rain. Even Mount Washington, I don't know if they count the mountain there. I'm surprised they're not getting snow there either. But yeah, there's going to be a warm sector, and then the storm's just going to kind of drift into Canada. So there's your snow totals. Again, Kuchera ratio on the GFS model. Again, still significant. I mean, 8 to 12, maybe over 12 to 24, like up in northern New York. Again, maybe an inch or two. I really do doubt it. Remember, this is the snow that's gonna. The Kuchera ratio is more accurate than 10 to 1, but remember, this still doesn't determine, like 10 to 1. This is still flawed in the sense that it doesn't always determine how much is going to be on the ground. That's snow depth, but I don't want to show snow depth because that always like undermines it significantly. So basically, if you look at the snow depth and this, and you kind of go in between, you'll probably have your accurate snow total. Because I'm sorry, as warm as it's going to be down in DC, I don't see there being 3 inches of snow on the ground. I just don't. If that changes, the track changes, the temperatures change, I'll let you know. But as of right now, that doesn't seem too likely. So let's look at the European model now. Again, here comes a storm. Now, there's really no southern piece with this. It kind of just comes in from the west. And then you can kind of see it rises up. Not as much of a snow band behind it like the GFS had. That's kind of progressing over the mid-Atlantic here. There was like a little snow band, not really there anymore. And then it kind of just, again, inland runner through the Great Lakes, and then it's out of here. So for I-95 people, Euro's probably your least favorite model. Now, this is 10-1, but this actually looks pretty accurate. It's a little low on the totals, but it does look pretty accurate, over 12 inches, in the highest elevations. But remember, this is mainly going to be like a Great Lakes targeted system. If we look at the Canadian model now, again, here we go into Thursday into Friday. Here comes a storm rising from the south. We got a lot of rain to deal with, or at least for a long period of time, right? This is going to come in Thursday, Thursday morning, and then Friday morning, and then, yeah. So, and the snow is actually there. I mean, for New York and Vermont, they actually have the snow coming in on the backside. But remember, it is the Canadian model, so it does like to favor snow for those areas. But that's not out of the question. It's definitely possible. We've seen a lot of rain to snow events up there this year. And then the snow totals, again, 3 to 6, and then you got over, 6 to 12 up here, over a foot here. So there is definitely still room for some snow in the interior Northeast, I-95 corridor. Again, focus less on the snow and more so on like that rapid freeze up. You can see some ice on the roadways, maybe some black ice as well. All right, so we're going to save the best for last here because I just love to see this. I mean, I just love to see the map, animate is what I mean. But here are the temperatures, right? And I'm going to start it here, and I'm going to let it just play out, all right? Just watch this air just absolutely invade the south, and look at just kind of the way it moves in. It almost looks like a cyclone. It looks like a cyclone is just, like you can see the low is here, and there's just the cold air. Instead of like the rain bands coming in like with a hurricane, it's just cold air. And these are actual temperatures, by the way. And also keep in mind that this is the warmest time of the day, supposedly-ish. This is like 4 or 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And it's like 3 degrees across this whole region. Even Tennessee is still 12 degrees. Even like almost down to the Gulf Coast in the afternoon, in the middle of the day, it's going to be like below 32 degrees. All right, and look what happens if we backtrack here to Friday. Oh, no, not Friday morning. Sorry, Saturday morning. Look at this. Orlando gets down to 32 degrees. Brownsville almost hits 32. Mexico, I mean, some of those areas are higher elevated, but like El Paso is not. I mean, not really. Not El Paso. Around the Rio Grande region here, that's not really elevated that much, and we're like 27. All right, these are actual temperatures, by the way. We're gonna. I didn't have it pulled up originally, but we'll show the wind chills as well. Negative 20s. I mean, this is crazy weather here. Let's actually pull up the wind chills. All right, I'll give it a sec for it to load. All right, but look at this. Like negative 50s up in Canada. I mean, it's only getting started. Look at this. This is Friday morning. Look at the Dakotas, negative 50. I mean, this is how it's going to feel to the human skin. All right, these won't be the actual temperatures, but this is how it's going to feel when you walk out the door. This is what it's going to feel like, and that's why I like showing the wind chills, because the wind chills are more important because that's what you're actually going to feel. And look at this. We're going to have below. First of all, it's going to feel like below freezing all the way down to southern Florida. I mean, even like West Palm Beach is going to feel like 29 degrees. Brownsville, even around below freezing wind chills, and below zero wind chills getting down to like Atlanta, all right, the Northeast, the I-95 corridor. I mean, and this is going to be for like 3 mornings in a row, at least for you people in the North, right? So Friday morning here, Saturday morning, same thing. Sunday morning, same thing. Even Monday morning, it starts to shift to the east a little bit, but it's still below zero wind chills. So definitely a lot to update with this storm. We're going to take a look at the temperature graphs again coming up as well, like in the upcoming videos, because it's always nice to see those. But yeah, updates on the storm coming. Be prepared if you're in the Midwest and the Northeast and the I-95 corridor for that ice. I'm the Weather Dude signing off. Till next time.